Every American kitchen in the 1970s suddenly had the same new appliance sitting on the counter. The Crock-Pot, launched by Rival in 1971, and it changed how working families ate dinner forever. For the first time, an American mother could load a pot before work, leave it all day, and come home to a hot meal already made. No watching, no stirring, just dinner waiting when she walked through the door. It built the slow cooker culture that fed millions of American families through the entire decade. If you grew up in an American kitchen in the 1970s, you already know that smell. Something rich and savory filling the house the moment you came home from school. These are 25 forgotten crock-pot recipes no one makes anymore. Subscribe before we begin. The countdown starts now. Crock-Pot Swiss steak. The tough, cheap, round steak that the slow cooker turned tender over 8 long hours while the family was away at work and school. Round steak cost 59 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $6. Canned tomatoes, onion, green pepper, and flour. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $9. Fed 6. You dredge the steak in flour and lay it in the crock. You add canned tomatoes, sliced onion, and green pepper. You set it on low for 8 hours. The steak goes fork tender. The gravy thickens into a deep red sauce. The peppers melt into it. Crock-Pot Swiss steak appeared in the original Rival recipe booklet in 1971. By 1972, it was a working family weeknight standard nationwide. Loaded in the morning. Tender steak waiting at 6. Slow cooker stuffed cabbage rolls. The Eastern European Sunday dish that the Crock-Pot made effortless. Cabbage leaves wrapped around beef and rice, simmered all day in tomato sauce. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $5.50. A head of cabbage, rice, onion, and canned tomatoes. Total then under $1.25. Today, under $9. Fed 6. You blanch the cabbage leaves. You roll beef and rice inside each one. You layer them in the crock with tomato sauce. You set it on low for 7 hours. The cabbage goes soft and sweet. The filling cooks through. The sauce thickens around the rolls. Crock-Pot cabbage rolls came from Polish and Hungarian immigrant traditions, adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, they were a Sunday standard in working-class homes. A whole Sunday dish made while you were at church. Crock-Pot chicken cacciatore. The Italian-American hunter's chicken that simmered all day in tomato and pepper until it fell off the bone. A whole chicken cut up cost 49 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $2.99. Canned tomatoes, onion, green pepper, garlic, and Italian seasoning. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $9. Fed 6. You lay chicken in the crock. You add tomatoes, onion, pepper, and garlic. You set it on low for 7 hours. The sauce goes dark red and thick. The chicken falls off the bone. The kitchen smells like an Italian deli. Crock-Pot cacciatore came from Southern Italian peasant cooking, adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was an Italian-American weeknight standard nationwide. A whole afternoon of simmering you never had to watch. Slow cooker beef burgundy. The French dish that the Crock-Pot made achievable for any working family. Beef braised all day in red wine until it dissolved into a rich, dark stew. Stew beef cost 69 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $7.99. Red wine, mushrooms, onion, and beef broth. Total then under $2. Today, under $14. Fed 6. You brown the beef and add it to the crock with wine, mushrooms, onion, and broth. You set it on low for 8 hours. The beef goes completely tender. The wine reduces into a dark, glossy sauce. The mushrooms soak up everything. Crock-Pot beef burgundy came from French bœuf bourguignon, adapted to the American slow cooker. By 1973, it was a dinner party standard in homes nationwide. French cooking made foolproof by a counter-appliance. Crock-Pot ham and beans soup. The soup that turned a leftover ham bone and a bag of dried beans into a smoky, rich pot of supper while nobody watched it. A ham bone cost 20 cents in 1972. Today, around $2. Dried navy beans, onion, carrot, and bay leaf. Total then under 50 cents. Today, under $5. Fed 8. You drop the ham bone in the crock with soaked beans, onion, and carrot. You cover with water. You set it on low for 9 hours. The beans go creamy. The broth turns smoky and golden. The ham falls off the bone. Crock-Pot ham and beans soup came from American thrift cooking, adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a Monday after ham standard nationwide. 1 ham bone, 9 hours, 8 people fed. The Crock-Pot did not just cook dinner. It gave a working mother her evening back, and her family a hot meal she did not have to stand over. Crock-Pot pot roast with onion soup mix. The Sunday roast made impossibly easy. A chuck roast, a packet of onion soup mix, and 8 hours of doing nothing. A chuck roast cost $1.29 in 1972. Today, around $19. Onion soup mix, carrots, and potatoes. Total then under $2. Today, under $22. Fed 8. You lay the roast in the crock with carrots and potatoes. You sprinkle the soup mix over and add water. You set it on low for 8 hours. The roast falls apart. The gravy goes dark and rich. The vegetables soak up everything. Crock-Pot pot roast with onion soup mix appeared in the Rival booklet in 1971. By 1972, it was the most famous slow cooker dinner in America. 1 packet of soup mix. The easiest Sunday roast ever made. Slow cooker sauerbraten. The German pot roast marinated in vinegar and spices, then slow cooked until tender and tangy. A dish that needed days but rewarded every minute. A beef roast cost $1.19 in 1973, today around $18. Vinegar, onion, ginger snaps, and spices. Total then under $2. Today under $20. Fed 8. You marinate the beef in vinegar and spices for 2 days. You slow cook it with the marinade for 8 hours. You thicken the gravy with crushed ginger snaps. The beef goes tender and tangy. The gravy turns dark and sweet-sour. The ginger snaps thicken it beautifully. Crock-Pot sauerbraten came from German immigrant traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a German-American Sunday standard. 2 days of marinade, 8 hours of magic. Crock-Pot chili con carne. The chili that simmered all day until the flavors melted together into something deep and rich that no quick pot could match. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $5.50. Kidney beans, canned tomatoes, onion, and chili powder. Total then under $1. Today, under $8. Fed 6. You brown the beef and add it to the crock with beans, tomatoes, onion, and chili powder. You set it on low for 8 hours. The chili goes thick and dark. The beans soften completely. The flavor deepens with every hour. Crock-Pot chili came from Tex-Mex traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a game day and weeknight standard nationwide. All-day chili that tasted like it had been simmering forever. Slow cooker split pea soup. The thick green soup that the Crock-Pot made effortless. Dried peas and a ham bone slowly melting into a velvety pot of supper. A bag of split peas cost 25 cents in 1973. Today, around $2. A ham bone, onion, carrot, and celery. Total, then, under 50 cents. Today, under $5. Fed, 8. You drop split peas in the crock with a ham bone, onion, carrot, and celery. You cover with water. You set it on low for 9 hours. The peas dissolve completely. The soup goes thick and green. The ham flavors everything. Crock-Pot split pea soup came from European and American thrift cooking. By 1973, it was a winter standard in homes nationwide. Dried peas in, velvet soup out. 9 hours later. Crock-Pot beef stroganoff. The Russian dish made easy. Beef slow cooked until tender, then finished with sour cream into a rich, creamy sauce over noodles. Stew beef cost 69 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $9.99. Mushrooms, onion, cream of mushroom soup, and sour cream. Total, then, under $1.50. Today, under $14. Fed, 6. You add beef, mushrooms, onion, and soup to the crock. You set it on low for 8 hours. You stir in sour cream at the end. The beef goes tender. The sauce goes creamy and rich. The mushrooms soak up everything. Crock-Pot stroganoff came from Russian cooking adapted to the American slow cooker. By 1972, it was a dinner party standard nationwide. Fancy enough for guests, easy enough for a Tuesday. Slow cooker corned beef and cabbage. The Irish-American supper that the Crock-Pot made foolproof. Corned beef simmered all day with cabbage and potatoes until everything went tender. A corned beef brisket cost 99 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $6. Cabbage, potatoes, carrots, and onion. Total, then, under $2. Today, under $14. Fed, 8. You lay the brisket in the crock with potatoes, carrots, and onion. You add water and set it on low for 9 hours. You add cabbage in the last hour. The corned beef goes fork tender. The cabbage goes soft. The potatoes soak up the salty broth. Crock-Pot corned beef came from Irish-American traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a St. Patrick's Day and Sunday standard nationwide. A whole Irish supper made while you were away. You remember coming home to it, the door opening, that wave of warm, savory air, the pot that meant someone planned ahead because they loved you. Crock-Pot smothered round steak. The cheap steak smothered in onions and gravy and slow cooked until it surrendered into something tender and rich. Round steak cost 59 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $6. Onion, flour, and beef broth. Total then under $1. Today, under $8. Fed, 4. You dredge the steak in flour and lay it in the crock with sliced onion and broth. You set it on low for 8 hours. The steak goes completely tender. The gravy goes dark and oniony. The whole pot smells like Sunday. Crock-Pot smothered steak came from Southern cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a weeknight standard in working-class homes nationwide. The cheapest steak turned into the tenderest supper. Slow cooker chicken and dumplings. The Sunday comfort dish made easy. Chicken slow cooked all day with dumplings dropped in at the end. A whole chicken cut up cost 49 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $2.99. Flour, baking powder, milk, and vegetables. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $9. Fed 6. You slow cook the chicken with vegetables and broth for 7 hours. You drop dumpling dough on top and cook 1 more hour on high. The chicken falls off the bone. The dumplings puff soft. The broth goes golden and thick. Crock-Pot chicken and dumplings came from Southern cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a Sunday standard nationwide. Sunday comfort food without standing at the stove. Crock-Pot Sloppy Joes. The sandwich filling that simmered all day until it went thick, sweet, and perfect for spooning onto buns. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $5.50. Onion, ketchup, tomato sauce, and brown sugar. Total then under $1. Today, under $7. Fed 6. You brown the beef and add it to the crock with onion, ketchup, and tomato sauce. You set it on low for 6 hours. The filling goes thick and glossy. The flavor deepens all day. The buns soak up the sauce. Crock-Pot Sloppy Joes came from American home cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, they were a weeknight standard nationwide. Browned in the morning, perfect by supper time. Slow cooker goulash. The Hungarian beef stew that the Crock-Pot simmered all day with paprika until it went deep, rich, and tender. Stew beef cost 69 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $7.99. Onion, paprika, canned tomatoes, and beef broth. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $12. Fed 6. You add beef, onion, paprika, tomatoes, and broth to the crock. You set it on low for 8 hours. The beef goes tender. The sauce goes deep red from the paprika. The whole pot smells like a Hungarian kitchen. Crock-Pot goulash came from Hungarian peasant cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a weeknight standard in immigrant-rooted homes nationwide. All-day goulash that tasted like an old country kitchen. Crock-Pot spare ribs and sauerkraut. The German dish that simmered ribs and sauerkraut together all day until the meat fell off the bone and the kraut went sweet and tender. Spare ribs cost 69 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $4.49. Sauerkraut, onion, brown sugar, and caraway. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $9. Fed 5. You layer ribs and sauerkraut in the crock with onion and brown sugar. You set it on low for 8 hours. The ribs fall off the bone. The sauerkraut goes sweet and tender. The whole pot smells like a German butcher shop. Crock-Pot ribs and kraut came from German and Pennsylvania Dutch traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, they were a weeknight standard nationwide. Ribs and kraut melting together all day long. Slow cooker lentil soup. The hearty, meatless soup that the Crock-Pot turned into a thick, rich pot of supper with almost no money and no effort. A bag of lentils cost 20 cents in 1973. Today, around $2. Onion, carrot, celery, and canned tomatoes. Total then under 50 cents. Today, under $5. Fed 8. You drop lentils in the crock with onion, carrot, celery, and tomatoes. You cover with water. You set it on low for 8 hours. The lentils go soft. The soup goes thick and rich. The vegetables melt into the broth. Crock-Pot lentil soup came from European and Middle Eastern traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a meatless weeknight standard nationwide. A whole pot of hearty supper for under 50 cents. Crock-Pot porcupine meatballs. The meatballs studded with rice that cooked all day in tomato sauce until the rice poked out like little quills. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $5.50. Rice, onion, and tomato soup. Total then under $1. Today, under $7. Fed 5. You mix beef with raw rice and onion and roll into balls. You set them in the crock with tomato soup. You cook on low for 7 hours.
Slow cooker beef barley soup. The thick, hearty soup that the crock-pot simmered all day until the barley swelled and the beef went tender. Stew beef cost 69 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $7.99. Barley, carrot, onion, celery, and beef broth. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $12. Fed 8. You add beef, barley, vegetables, and broth to the crock. You set it on low for 8 hours. The barley swells and thickens the soup. The beef goes tender. The broth turns rich and dark. Crock-Pot beef barley soup came from Eastern European and Jewish American traditions, adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a winter standard nationwide. A thick, hearty pot that cooked itself all day. Crock-Pot glazed pot roast. The roast slow-cooked in cola or coffee until the liquid reduced into a dark, sweet, glossy glaze over fork-tender beef. A chuck roast cost $1.29 in 1973. Today, around $19. Cola or coffee, onion soup mix, and onion. Total then under $2. Today, under $22. Fed 8. You lay the roast in the crock. You pour cola or coffee over it with onion soup mix. You set it on low for 8 hours. The roast falls apart. The liquid reduces into a sweet, dark glaze. The onions melt into it. Crock-Pot glazed pot roast came from 1970s convenience cooking experiments. By 1973, the cola and coffee versions were popular nationwide. A roast glazed in soda pop that nobody could explain but everyone loved. Slow cooker chicken a la king. The creamy chicken dish that the crock-pot made effortless, served over toast, biscuits, or rice. A whole cooked chicken cost 79 cents in 1972. Today, around $7. Cream of chicken soup, mushrooms, pimentos, and peas. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $10. Fed 6. You add chicken, soup, mushrooms, and pimentos to the crock. You set it on low for 5 hours. You stir in peas at the end. The sauce goes rich and creamy. The chicken goes tender. The pimentos add color throughout. Crock-Pot chicken a la king came from American restaurant cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a weeknight standard nationwide. Creamy chicken supper that cooked while you worked. Crock-Pot pepper steak. The Chinese-American dish slow-cooked until the beef went tender and the peppers softened into a savory sauce over rice. Round steak cost 59 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $6. Bell peppers, onion, soy sauce, and beef broth. Total then under $1. Today, under $9. Fed 4. You slice the steak and add it to the crock with peppers, onion, soy sauce, and broth. You set it on low for 7 hours. The beef goes tender. The peppers soften. The sauce thickens into a savory glaze. Crock-Pot pepper steak came from Chinese-American cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a weeknight favorite nationwide. Takeout flavor that cooked itself all day at home. Slow cooker navy bean soup. The smoky white bean soup that the Crock-Pot turned into a thick, rich pot from a bag of dried beans and a ham bone. A bag of navy beans cost 20 cents in 1972. Today, around $2. A ham bone, onion, and carrot. Total then under 50 cents. Today, under $5. Fed 8. You drop navy beans in the crock with a ham bone, onion, and carrot. You cover with water. You set it on low for 9 hours. The beans go creamy. The broth turns smoky. The ham flavors everything. Crock-Pot navy bean soup came from American thrift cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a Monday standard nationwide. A pot of smoky bean soup for pocket change. Crock-Pot apple butter. The slow-cooked apple spread that simmered for a full day until it went dark, thick, and spiced. Something no quick method could replicate. Apples cost 29 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $2. Sugar, cinnamon, and cloves. Total then under $1. Today, under $5. Made a full batch. You fill the crock with chopped apples, sugar, and spices. You cook on low for 10 hours, stirring occasionally, until it goes dark and thick. The apples collapse completely. The butter turns deep brown. The whole house smells like autumn. Crock-Pot apple butter came from Appalachian and Pennsylvania Dutch traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a fall standard in homes nationwide. A whole day of slow cooking that filled the house with autumn. Crock-Pot beef stew. The classic that defined slow cooker cooking. Beef and vegetables simmered all day into a thick, rich stew waiting at the door. Stew beef cost 69 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $7.99. Potatoes, carrots, onion, and beef broth. Total then under $1.50. Today, under $12. Fed 6. You add beef, potatoes, carrots, onion, and broth to the crock. You set it on low for 9 hours. The beef goes tender. The broth thickens. The vegetables soak up everything. Crock-Pot pulled pork. The pork shoulder slow cooked until it's shredded with a fork, drowned in barbecue sauce for sandwiches. A pork shoulder cost 49 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $3.49. Barbecue sauce, onion, and buns. Total then under $2. Today, under $10. Fed 8. You lay the pork in the crock with onion and barbecue sauce. You set it on low for 9 hours. You shred it with 2 forks. The pork falls apart completely. The sauce soaks through. The buns hold the tender meat. Crock-Pot pulled pork came from Southern barbecue traditions adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a weekend standard nationwide. Barbecue without the pit, made on a kitchen counter. Crock-Pot meatloaf. The meatloaf, shaped and slow cooked in the crock until moist and tender, glazed with ketchup on top. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1972. Today, around $5.50. Egg, breadcrumbs, onion, and ketchup. Total then under $1. Today, under $8. Fed 6. You shape the beef mixture into a loaf and set it in the crock. You spread ketchup on top. You cook on low for 7 hours. The meatloaf stays moist. The glaze goes dark and sticky. The whole thing holds together perfectly.
Crock-Pot meatloaf came from American home cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1972, it was a weeknight standard nationwide. Meatloaf without heating the oven all afternoon. Crock-Pot chili mac. The combination of chili and macaroni slow cooked into one thick, hearty pot the children loved. Ground beef cost 39 cents a pound in 1973. Today, around $5.50. Macaroni, kidney beans, tomatoes, and chili powder. Total then under $1. Today, under $9. Fed 6. You slow cook the beef, beans, tomatoes, and chili powder for 6 hours. You add macaroni in the last 30 minutes. The chili goes thick. The macaroni swells. The whole pot goes rich and savory. Crock-Pot chili mac came from Midwestern cooking adapted to the slow cooker. By 1973, it was a children's favorite nationwide. Chili and macaroni in one easy all-day pot. Make one of these this week. Just one. In the comments, tell me which one your family made. Was it the pot roast or the beef stew? Tell me the slow cooker supper you can still smell when you close your eyes. Tell me her name if you want to. I am reading every one.